Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch You Want, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're looking at my friend Bubba. This is the Richard Mille RM055 Bubba Watson. As you can see, a combination of rubber, ceramic, and titanium. It's 50 millimeters lug to lug. You can see it, and you can take Bubba home on our website, watchyouwant.com. And if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now, you can see on my wrist 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. This tonneau case is actually a perfect fit. It is tall, and there's no question about that. 13 millimeters thick. It is on the girthier side, but it's actually not that much thicker than a Rolex GMT Master 2 or Submariner with ceramic bezel. So you have to remember that the form somewhat exaggerates the actual size of the watch. Now you can see lug to lug, 50 millimeters is not that great. Again, it's roughly the span of a modern 40 millimeter Rolex. So the fit of this watch, when you take the camber, that is the curvature of the case, and the wonderfully short conforming end pieces of this pre-curved strap into account, the ergonomic equation here is stunning. And that's not even talking about the construction of the case. A hybrid of rubber, titanium grade 5, and Richard Mille's own ATZ white ceramic compound, this watch practically disappears on the wrist. Now you can see that I'm actually starting the video off with my wrist shot because I found that initially the camera focuses on whatever it sees first. So with the watch on my wrist, I'm hoping you're getting better resolution of the movement and the details of the signature Richard Mille tonneau case here, because the details really make the experience. In addition to the ergonomic equation, which is outstanding for a small wrist, the watch also features a tremendous amount of articulation all the way around. You can see the ventilation cut into the rubber strap, allowing for moisture, perspiration, grit from the green to seep out, to vaporize on a hot day. You can see the modular construction of the case, each individual layer quite distinct, forming a sort of mechanical composite image that's as striking as the movement inside. Richard Mille takes the machine and brings it out. The cases are as much an architecture exercise as they are a statement of high horology. You can see turning the strap over. Now you can see the Richard Mille titanium double deployant clasp here. Now it uses a leaf spring structure that moves through the underside and allows it to pretty much hold itself shut. You can see the snap action. It does grab, pull, and hold once you move it past the neutral point. So the watch is very secure, but it's also very low in profile. Despite the strength of that clasp mechanism, you can see that from the side, when it's on the wrist, it really reads as a conventional pin buckle, and with a pin buckle built in, you get that ease of adjustability at will, but the security of a watch that's held on by a full deployant. Now the case itself, although a signature of Richard Mille, is part of the shock-absorbing equation that makes the Bubba Watson extraordinary. Now, we all know Bubba Watson, American golfer, originally from Baghdad, Florida, educated and started playing in his pre-professional years at Milton High School. I've actually got a little bit of a connection there because when I was in the Navy, I did biking sort of routes around Pensacola Bay, and I would actually start on the eastern side from Milton, where I lived, head past Milton High School, down through Baghdad, Florida, and around the bay. So Bubba and I actually shared the same haunt for a while. And you can see that this watch is tailor-made for golf. That case construction with rubberized coating over the titanium, ultra lightweight in every respect, minimizes the fixed mass that's going to reverberate around the movement and transfer shock to the movement bridges and plates themselves. Now you can see that in order to remove the mass internally, Richard Mille takes the movement, which is based on a Vacheron caliber, and skeletonizes it to the extreme. All of the bridges and plates are in titanium. The entire assembly weighs only 4.3 grams, and you can see, fully skeletonized, it's anchored at 4 points with special spline screws themselves clinched down over a polymer isolator, effectively a little rubberized shock absorber at each mounting point that further isolates the movement from the impact of the golf player's wrist. And this is key because Bubba Watson plays with this watch. 8-time PGA winner, winner of 2 Masters. He's actually validated the watch in practice in the harshest conditions. If you're a yachtsman, if you are a pilot, if you are a fan or a driver in motorsports, you have no shortage of options if you're looking for a sports-themed watch that's tailored toward you. But if you're a golfer, Your sport is essentially death on mechanical watches, and the list of eligible sports watches ready to accompany you onto the green runs pretty narrow and, for the most part, is limited exclusively to the Richard Mille Bubba Watson models, the RM38 and the RM55. The 55 is the looker amongst them because you can even see my finger behind the watch. It's almost like I'm staring through a window. This watch is an exhibition. It is a case study in minimalism. And you can see that the bridges themselves, not only PVD coated, but immaculately hand finished. So while the tech factor is high and the durability is immense, the delicacy of the details is Swiss high horology standard. Hand finish, I'm talking polishing, I'm talking hand graining, beveling. There's an immense amount of traditional handcraft in here. Richard Mille has not simply built a tech watch, has not simply built a sort of mechanical smartwatch. This is in fact everything you would expect from a watch with an original retail price close to $100,000, technically and artistically, with a 55-hour power reserve courtesy of twin partially skeletonized mainspring barrels. Not only does it have solidly more power reserve than the industry standard 42 hours, but with the twin barrels employed to provide an even distribution of torque across the full power reserve of 55 hours, it's going to keep excellent time. It's going to be very isochronic throughout that period. Now, the free-sprung balance is part and parcel to the shock-absorbing equation. You can see the studs being held by a free-sprung balance at a single point. There's no mobile regulator or no mobile adjustment index that can be used to change the timing of the watch. Rolex style, it's all done by balance blocks on the balance itself. So it's very shock resistant, and even if it does take some knocks on the green, this is not one that's going to change its timing faster or slower as a result. Now, 24 jewel movement entirely in titanium, surrounded by a flange in aluminum, set within a case that's a combination of high-tech Alcrin polymer, grade 5 titanium, and of course that ATZ Richard Mille white ceramic. Now, the white ceramic comprises the bezel with its inset titanium spline screws, as well as the case back. And what you'll find is that white ceramic is one of the least common materials in the luxury watch industry. There are some companies that don't even want to touch it. The rejection rate is high. The challenge of baking it pure and clean, unflawed, is immense. That's why you're going to see only a handful of very special watches created with great difficulty that employ this material. And Richard Mille has further employed white polymer, that Alcrin, on the case flanks as well as on the crown to essentially damp the tendency of the titanium and the ATZ to resonate after a hard strike on the green. 3 ATM water resistant, so for the most part, this is one to wear if you're caught in downpour out on the green itself, not one to wear in the post-Masters pool party. Keep that in mind. Now, manual wind movement, 55-hour power reserve. The dimensions are 50 millimeters lug-to-lug, as I stated, approximately 43 millimeters wide at the extremities, and 13 millimeters thick, only 13. I'm going to emphasize that because the proportions of the case make it look like more. Ergonomically, technologically, and artistically, the Richard Mille RM055 Bubba Watson is a true winner in every sense. Masters or otherwise, you can win with Bubba on our website, watchyouwant.com.